Alright, if you're watching this, you've probably done the exact same thing I've done. You got the roll cage put in, and then you waited months until you finally were about ready to paint it. And now your roll cage is covered in surface rust. What do? Well, here, we're going to show you. My first advice is make sure you paint the cage before you paint the interior of your car. Otherwise, you'll look like mine, which is completely masked off and covering every part other than the cage, which is a lot. So don't do it. Paint the cage first, then paint the interior. If you have already painted the interior, I'm sorry, it's too late. You're gonna be looking like me. First step, you want to get a scuffing pad. I'm using a fine scuff pad from Napa Auto Parts, and you'll just lightly go over all the rusty areas, and the idea is just to knock off the surface rust. Once you have completed that step, the next step you'll take some Windex and some rags and just wipe everything down. You're just trying to clean the dust off that you just sanded off, and get it as clean as possible before doing the next step. Step 2. Alright, now that I'm covered in sweat, because that was exhausting cleaning that all, digging in there. Next step is I'm going to use permatex rust treatment, and I will put this, I'll put 3 coats of this on, and then we have to wait 24 hours until it's ready and set, and then we can put primer and paint. So let's get started with this. Alright, it's been about 24 hours now, and you can see that the rust has turned into a black kind of primer material. Kind of a black primer material. Now we're going to be putting on some clean metal primer, and use on bare, painted, or lightly rusted metal for the ultimate finish. Now, I've used this before, and all I can tell you is be very careful with the overspray, and just do a light coat at a time, and just do a couple coats, because this does splatter like crazy, and you will have a lot of runs that you got to rust down. So take my advice and just go slow at it. Don't rush this. Just do multiple coats until you got it. Let's get to it. Next step, after you have put the primer down, I'm just going to take one of these fine scuff pads. If you were heavy on the paint, on the primer like I was, you got runs all over the place. I wasn't patient enough. I just wanted to get it done, and now I had to wait another day to let it all dry. And now I'm going to go over it and get rid of all the runs with this, and then we're going to be ready for the paint. Alright, now I've sanded over everything, got most of the runs. I'm not going to have it perfect. This isn't a show car. If it was a show car, I wouldn't have let it get as rusty as it was. I'm sure you're the same way. You probably built a race car, ran out of time to get it painted in time, and that's why you're doing this, and that's why it's covered in rust. If it was a show car, I hope you would have already got it taken care of. So this is the easiest way. Now, the next step, I am putting this Ace brand rust stop. You can see a wheelbarrow on it, so you know this stuff is tough. And you can actually, this is what it says: prevents rust and corrosion, direct to metal, no primer needed, dries in 30 minutes or less. We use primer anyways, so it doesn't hurt to have an extra layer of protection. So in reality, through this whole entire process, you have a rust treatment. So there's one form of rust prevention that's supposed to cure the rust on contact. Then we put a Rust-Oleum clean metal primer. That's also supposed to prevent from rust. And now we're putting a third layer of protection, the Ace brand Rust Stop. So let's hope this works. I hope it works for you. Let's see what this thing looks like finally painted. All right, we got the finished product here, and it turned out really well. I'm very pleased of how it turned out. Here it is. This is gonna look really good against the black car and white interior. It's a nice dark red. I don't think this video actually shows how well it looks. And now I got a phone call. This is how it turned out after using these 3 products and using just a fine scuff pad. It turned out really well. Got a nice smooth finish, nice and shiny. We're using 3 layers of protection. I used about 4 cans of each of these, maybe 3.5 on some, but 4 cans is probably what you're gonna need to do at least this size of a roll cage. Good luck. I hope this helps you out, and give me a like, subscribe, see other videos like this. Thanks.